Well, hello again to all you fine people of all forms and how you identify in this part of the Information Superhighway to the 125th edition of the weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week we are back in the focus discussion of a mixed array of new releases, trailers, and some small selection of news stories in focus of the week. So let's not waste too much time on those intros, let's get delve into discussion of all things media that we have for this week.
Let's go out there and make people smile!
Now our first new release of the week is seeing us enter into the world of the digital age, where for over 4 decades with some highly sophisticated programs showing the power we can only dream of over the years. But after a bit of time, these programs are no longer living in the machines and now about to leak out into the real world, and the world as we know it is about to change. As after 15 years after the legacy returned, a new program is taking shape as we have the release of the third film in this popular cyber series with Tron Ares. The film will be following a highly sophisticated program, Ares, played by Jared Leto, who is sent from the digital world of Tron into the real world on a dangerous mission, marking humankind's first encounter with artificial intelligent beings and may change the world of humans and machines forever. Now reception on the third entry sees a little bit more of a mixed outcome, as while the visuals and the soundtrack by 9 Inch Nails have received the highest of glowing praises, the film is a little mixed in the form of focus with some of the performances, its narrative, and the slight overabundance of nostalgia baiting, though it seems that the audience is maybe a little more in favour of than the critics, but each to their own. If you want to check out and enter the grid, then you can catch the new film out now in cinemas. Our second film of the week, we have seen many forms of horror in the realms of different perspectives, the likes of man-made horrors, strange circumstances, unspeakable evils, found footage focus, and even just this year in the perspective of the actual supernatural entity itself. But this time, we are taking it once again from another new perspective, and that is to do from the eyes of man's best friend, and what they see as we don't, as we have the release of the all-new horror in the form of Good Boy. The film will follow a man named Todd, who following the death of a family member will see himself and his faithful dog Indy relocate to an old rural farmhouse owned by Todd's late grandfather. But even though it is reported to be haunted, it seems that Todd ignores the warnings. However, Indy soon starts to see disturbing supernatural entities all around the home that may soon be invisible to humans, but to this dog, it's all too real. Unable to communicate with his owner of the fears and of his safety, Indy must confront and understand about these malevolent forces threatening his owner and the dangers. The dog's loyalty is put to the ultimate test in a desperate attempt to protect his owner. Now, reception on this new film has been very highly praised, with high praise to the new take on the genre and the performance of the goodest boy of Indy himself, and one that has been labeled as one of the most heartbreaking horrors of the year. If you want to check it out for yourself, then you can catch it out now in cinemas too. Our last film of the week is a case of new biographical project. Over the years, we have seen many stories in the focus about some people's journey and changing perspectives of life while dealing with some form of disability, from illnesses, learning issues, and the sorts. And the folks in this new project may be a little more explicit in the language, but in the case of the disability, it comes with the ordeal, and will show that even with this tick, they are still human, as we have the release of the all-new biographical film of I Swear. And the film is based on the true story of John Davidson, who was diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome since he was a child and caused him to twitch and mostly swear a lot uncontrollably. And while it may feel like a curse, it will lead to him discovering that it's not something to be ashamed of, and helps to create a journey of awareness for others like him and help to change and embrace the condition, leading to the creation of a documentary of John's Not Mad back in 1989 too. Now, reception on this new biographical film has been so very highly praised at the moment, currently sitting with 100% from about 20 odd reviews, with praise to the performances, the humour, heart, and for being a well-respected biographical film and a case study on the condition. If you want to check it out for yourself, then you can catch this new film also out now in cinemas. As for one TV show for the week that I can come across, though the releasing on the channel is a little more mixed, is the case that if you have been feeling down and out and a little glum in the face, then the case of this group will make it their mission to turn that frown upside down, as with the release of the all-new third season of the popular Adult Swim animated series of Smiling Friends. Now the series will continue on the misadventures of the gang of the Smiling Friends headquarters, including the likes of Charlie and Pim going on some journeys to help make people smile, and the case of even Alan, Glep, and Mr. Boss getting in on the fun too, and even get the likes of getting them all the spirit gems. Mr. Frog may run towards the camera, and it may all end with a fight against a witch, but you never know about this series in particular. Now reception so far on the season, mainly with the first episode of Silly Samuel, being mixed to decently received, with praise to the animation and the appeal of the characters, though some elements of the humor in the first ending of the seasons being a little hit or miss. But I'm sure not every episode of a show can be solid comedy gold, and I look forward to more misadventures with this group of oddballs. If you want to check it out for yourself, it is available to watch on Adult Swim, and then next day on HBO Max in the US, and HBO Europe, and presumably Channel 4 in the UK and Ireland. Moving to games for the weekend, the first the focus of the likes of the dreams that we may experience can vary in many different forms, and with some appealing to the masses and the others being the case of thinking that even though it all seems some more horrors and scares will come from it all, with a few variations of nightmares to come when we least expect it. And in the case of this new title, it's more in the latter than your character may be small, but the horrors abound are terrifyingly large. And after 2 years since it was first unveiled, we have finally gotten the release of the third entry in the popular Little Nightmares series. The new entry of the series will have you play as Lo and Alone, two small children who must travel through a place known as the Nowhere, a somewhat supernatural and dead and deadly place in search of a place to escape from the dangerous looming threats that Lo seems to have in his dreams and hopes to survive from the horrors of this land. Now, reception of this third entry is a little mixed to positive, though while the gameplay and horrors are still well done and still worth our creepiness aesthetic, the narrative and horrors compared to the first two entries are a little more underwhelming, but it could turn around with some more planned chapters in the game in the future. Look forward to in the form of DLC. And if you want to check it out for yourself and all for the horror nightmares abound, you can play it now on PS4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X and S, Switch 1 and 2, and PC. And for our second game of the week, it's time to get you all geared up, prepped and trained, and be prepared to go above and beyond the Call of Duty. But it's not that serious just yet. That comes in another month from now, as it's time to head into conflict and resolve the greater good, as we are back with boots on the ground combat with the release of Battlefield 6. Now, the campaign is set in 2027-2028 and will follow the members of the Dagger 1-3, an elite team of US Marine raiders who must fight against a private military company known as Pax Armada, who seeks to reshape global power as NATO teeters on the edge of collapse, and you must find a way to resolve the ordeal before the world is left in ruins. Now, reception new entry of the series seems to be very well received, with the series seeing a return to form from the get-go after the underwhelming and mixed appeal of the previous titles launched in the popular series, and seems to be on the right track in campaign and multiplayer action. If you want to play it for yourself, you can play it now on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. And to wrap up the new releases of the week is with the release of something that will appeal to me in the realm of the music scene. As well, you have your showgirls and your man-childs. I have been waiting for the return of a duo of one in blue sparkly spandex and magnificent hair, and the other of a silent ninja with a theoretical physics degree and a master's in applied mathematics. As a duo of Danny and Ninja Brian are back once more with an all-new selection of covering the hits with the release of Volume 4 of Ninja Sex Parties Under the Covers. Now, this will of course consist of a fine selection of covers from the duo and their backing sounds of twerp, with some tracks like Power of Love, Walk the Dinosaur, Hey Jude, Rosanna, SOS, and many more tracks on the selection of tasty covers. Now, the likes of this album don't get a lot of reviews I can find easily, but I can say that the covers in this are very solid and very appealing to listen to. They may not fully hit the perfect tone fully in one or two of them, but they give a very damn good effort overall. If you want to have a listen to yourself, you can get their new album on their website in CD, vinyl, or cassette form with a Walkman option, in stores if they sell it, and listen to all forms of music sharing locations that you can find. And with all that regards, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week.
Egg.
Now, the trailers, and our first one is seeing a case that over the past few decades and entries in this series, we have seen the case that the creature of this franchise has been seen as one of the ultimate hunters, and one that has proven a challenge to take down with their advanced artillery. But it looks like in this one that the hunter is the one that is seen as the prey, or being hunted, and will have to team up to take down the powerful competition and prove their worth to their fellow kind, as we receive the third and final trailer for the upcoming new entry of the popular Predator series with Predator Badlands. A new film will be set in the distant future and see a young predator who has been cast out of his clan and outgunned against human survivors will find himself an ally of Fia, a young female android, and will soon embark on a long, treacherous journey in search of the ultimate adversary and to prove his worth to his kind. It's definitely seen the likes of this series over the last few years has proven itself and turned around heavily in being appealing after some having a few missteps that was seen as close being potential, that wasn't sort of massive but worked on some unique ideas, to where the creative in focus has found the right balance of appealing to the series with unique ideas. From what I got to this new entry is a bit of a Souls-like tale where the predator is hiding some unspeakable and massive creatures to the land, with the aid of a mechanical adversary will help survive the dangerous world and landscape. And from the looks of it all, it does appeal to me. I'm intrigued to see the overall outcome of this project. And it's not too far from release as well at this point. This new film being unleashed in just under a month's time on November 7th. Our second trailer has a focus of a film festival darling that shows the case that many people's lives and love stories have all some form of appeal, where people are inseparable and from the sense of love can bring some sense of marriage and even a creation of a new life. But it's a case that sometimes the effects of that new life can affect some of those bringing it into the world, having a sense of uncertainty and struggles afterwards. And it seems fully here with the release of the all-new psychological dark comedy drama with a trailer for the new film of Die, My Love. It follows a young couple of Grace, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and Jackson, played by Robert Pattinson, who move from New York to rural Montana to have a quieter life. As they soon adjust to their new surroundings and becoming parents, Grace soon begins to struggle with postpartum depression and feelings of isolation and psychological distress, and her deteriorating mental health soon drives their marriage into unsettling and unpredictable territory. Now, there's always an intriguing aspect to see what comes of these projects that have been somewhat quiet in scope, and then once they hit the scene, the film festivals is where they really pop off in popularity and acclaim and stuff, and from the looks of this trailer, it gives off the sense that we're in for an unsettling trip into the deranged and crazy, and it does really look interesting and maybe well worth a look into. And if you're looking forward to checking this out, it's not too far from release as well, as the film will be dropping onto cinemas from November 7th in the US and a week later here on November 14th. Our third trailer for the week is another award season darling and a film festival mainstay, and is one that will see a case of some crazy conspiracies, twisted narratives, and the creative mind of a director and his leading actress in crime back to create something unique and quirky, as you have the release of the third and final trailer for the upcoming new film of Bugonia. Now, the film will follow two conspiracy-obsessed young men who will end up kidnapping the CEO of a major company that's played by Emma Stone, as they are convinced that they are actually an alien who is intent on destroying the Earth. I'm sure a lot of more chaos and stuff will ensue following. I think that over time for me, with seeing more of these films so Lapamos being released, that there's an interesting perspective to see what sort of MatPat project or ideals that he will come up with in this time around. And it seems in the case they're really going a bit more into the realm of the conspiracy nuts and modern age makes a complete and total sense. And I'm sure it may be something elaborate and bonkers to one and will provide a sense of conversation by the project's end, but I'm sure it may be well worth to see what the outcome is, and from all the critical acclaim it's received so far from film festivals as well, when the film releases into cinemas in just about 3 weeks time on October 31st. Initially seen as our last trailer for the week, but is now our second last one, is the return to the realm of Westeros once more, to the time that is not the focus of the original series that may have crashed and burned by the series end, and not returning yet to the tale of the family of the Seven Kingdoms and their rule with an army of dragons. But instead, we are focusing on a story that's a little more lighter in tone and with a slight bit more whimsy, even in a world still populated by dragons and murder, as you're returning back to Westeros for another new spin-off from the expanded universe of George R.R. Martin, as you've revealed the trailer for the all-new spin-off of Game of Thrones, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Set a century before the events of the original series, the series will follow Sir Duncan the Tall, a hedge knight, and his young small squire known as Egg, as they travel across the lands of Westeros and face a series of dangerous exploits during the continued reign of the Targaryens' rule, and the fabled myths of the last dragon left in memory of many, and great destinies and powerful foes await for those improbable and incomparable friends. Now, I have heard a little about this story over the last few years and was one of the few spin-offs that survived the first wave of spin-off concepts, and it seems from the looks of this one, from the tone, it gives off a bit more of a lighter aspect and focus compared to the more serious and natured aspect of the original and House of the Dragon. And it seems the case the main leads are also an Irish lad, so it gives an appeal of seeing this world in a little bit more of a lighter side. And so far it looks like it could be something of an enjoyable watch, and I'm sure it'll be well worth a check out. The new series set to release now on HBO and Sky Atlantic from the 18th of January next year. And on this final trailer that did come in just as I was finished writing this up, and coming to us from New York Comic Con, we are taking a full jump all the way over to Marvel, and in a sense it seemed that in the world of modern day media, it's the case that superheroes are all the rage, and the case now may be seeing a sense of fatigue to a lot of people, and can be overwhelming after a bit of time. And it seems in this form, they may be making that overall focus and the perspective of this new project of getting a little meta in the universe of heroes. It still seems like a similar thing there too, as we have the release of the next Marvel project away from the MCU with a trailer for the upcoming series of Wonder Man. And the series will be a form of a Hollywood satire about the superhero genre, and will follow Simon Williams, and the actor who gains superpowers after a lab accident and finds himself embroiled in a criminal conspiracy, and teaming up with former disgraced actor Trevor Slattery to investigate the company of connections to iconic radiation, while maybe a threat to others, and also explore elements of his family relationships as well as his career struggles in a world where real superheroes do exist. So it's always interesting to see an idea when a concept or project makes fun of itself in some form, and when we have seen that in the genre with the likes of The Boys in some degree, as well as The Merc with a Mouth as well in this trilogy of films for Marvel. I like to think if the likes of some of these fatigue of this genre is also seen in the world, it's an interesting one. And has so far some intrigued me so far in the realm of telling a bit like a big winning show of the Emmys with the studio with some element to it as well. And so far I'm interested to learn more about it and check out when it does. Now, initially this was supposed to release at the end of this year in December, but the series has now been pushed back by a month, so we can now expect it all comes about by the release of this series on Disney Plus from the 27th of January. With all that regards, that's all the new trailers that we do have for this week.
Mother knows best.
So we only have the focus of a roundup story for this week, and this will consist of a little on the likes of some hodgepodge stories that mainly consist of release date updates and some casting announcements or changes. But let's delve into these particular topics from this week. Now, next up is our only one that really kind of has a release date focus of an announcement of a product that was already confirmed a couple of weeks ago to be in the works, and one that is made with one block at a time, as it was announced this week that we have now gotten a release date to the follow-up to one of the biggest box office hits of the year, as announced the sequel to the Minecraft Minecraft movie will be releasing and building a full terrain from the 23rd of July 2027, which seems like a decent bit of time to develop into a follow-up of the franchise. Now, with the release day announcement, it will also see this going head-to-head with a possible two-film box office double feature. As you recall from last week, the film will now be releasing the same day as the sequel to the Simpsons movie, essentially making a new Barbenheimer at the moment that is currently being dubbed online as Simpcraft. Now, do I see both of these releasing the same day? Possibly, but it's also a case I see one of them getting delayed for more development time or moved up for a better box office chance or something, but it's really unclear. Like this as well, we will see the cast come back from the follow-up, including likes of Jack Black back again as Steve, and likes of Jason Momoa and a few other ones, and also the case probably get introduced to the character of Alex in the sequel, but as of now, it's not fully clear as who will be back in the cast, but we do know the director of Jared Hess is going back for the sequel. But I'm sure we'll get to see if both films will stick to release day and who will be back and add to the follow-up, but if anything does change, I'll provide that in a later episode, of course. Now, going from dates to announcements of castings, which changes rumors and announcements, we're going to start with the rumored one for the moment, and this releases the focus of films that was initially reported to be stopping from the drama and box office one of them from this year, and then the box of the follow-up gave them a big sack of cash and revived them, and eventually I will get to those two parts on more videos on it as well, but we're talking on some cast rumors for a live-action Disney film, and this relates to the project known to be in the works, and that is with the movie based on 2010's film Tangled. Now, it's not the main character of Rapunzel or Flynn, but rather we are taking on the villain of the film, and that's with the reported casting for Mother Gothel, as seems to be in talks that the role is being given to Marvel Black Widow star Scarlett Johansson. Now, it's not a bad choice for the role. She would be interesting to see in a villain role, prove she can sing as well and all that stuff, but my first choice in the role, I wouldn't say that fully, as it seems like myself and others online are in agreement that the top choice may well have been with Kathryn Hahn in the role of the character, which I feel would have worked wonders in tone, and Scarlett Jo could still work in another character in the film overall. Now, it's a case at the moment that it's not set in stone. The likes of this casting still is just reports right now, so it could fall through or could be confirmed soon enough, but I guess we'll see in due time, and I'm sure we will start hearing a few more names for the other characters in this movie, but of course once you hear anything, I'll provide that in a later episode as well. Our next casting one is somewhat confirmed, but it's also a bit of a rumor one at the moment, as it relates to a prequel to a popular series of all-star cast heist films, with a planned prequel to the Oceans franchise. Now, this prequel was first announced about 2 years ago, with Barbie stars Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling set for the roles of the parents to George Clooney and Sandra Bullock's characters in this series. I think since then went quiet. It may be a case that Gosling may not be part of this franchise after all again, because just on Thursday we've gotten some news in relation to this series, as a report that now the Oscar-nominated actor Bradley Cooper may be in talks to star alongside Robbie in this film, with the film being directed by Twisters and Minari director Lee Isaac Chung, and tell the story of how their lives inspire their children to follow in their footsteps with their own big pricey heists. Now, I can see the likes of this duo working really well for the prequel to the popular series, and I'm sure the sense of chemistry and connection will work really good overall, but it remains to be seen if anything has been finalized. Now, the case as well, at the moment, this is just rumored reports, and nothing has been overly final has been decided yet, or when we can expect this project. Once I do hear anything, of course, I'll provide that in a later episode as well. Now, from rumors to a casting change underway, we are talking on the film that was unexpected to get a follow-up, but I guess we have to see the story that occurred soon after from the narrative in the biblical times, and that is with some changes to the sequel to the Passion of the Christ. As was announced on Friday, that lead star Jim Caviezel has announced he will no longer be playing Jesus in the follow-up, and also announced that Monica Bellucci will not be returning as Mary Magdalene either. Now, the reason for this departure seems to be stemmed towards the scheduling conflicts for the actors and the case of the overabundance of visual and digital effects needing to be done with them, that it became a bit too much for them, decided to part ways with the project, as now seen a search for 2 new roles to be filled again. Now, whether this will see a delay of these titles occurring is unknown right now, but they still have a little over a year and a half to put it all together, or maybe there's a chance of either actor returning, but it's unclear as of right now. All we can do is see if the films will find new castings soon enough, or a delay will happen from its now initial planned Easter 2027 release, but I guess we'll find out soon. Now, the focus of the next casting one is with some reported names and a possible confirmation to a collection of biopic films on the way, and that is with the focus some casting additions to the film based on the members of the Beatles. As we have some reports of some possible confirmation of Shogun actress Anna Sawai already playing Yoko Ono, as well as the castings of Paul Mescal, Barry Keoghan, Joseph Quinn, and Harris Dickinson playing the 4 members, we have some reports of 2 new additions coming to us, and that is possibly confirmed now, with Irish actress Saoirse Ronan reported to be playing Linda McCartney opposite Paul Mescal, and White Lotus star Amy Lou Wood being cast as the role of Patty Boyd. Now, I think from the choices they are provided here seem to be solid enough, and I'm sure we will work out in his favour from the choices made, and who else will be making their presence and performance in the overall project if they will be all confirmed for these aspects as well. It'll also be a question to see how much of a presence with these characters will have in these films, or if they will be mostly seen in just the individual members' movies that they are focused with, so like Saoirse Bollywood McCall McCartney's one. But I guess we will see from better ideas to who will be cast in all these projects and what will the plot of each film focus on. But I guess we'll get some confirmation on these overall projects soon enough, and I will provide them in a later episode if they do come along. The last of the casting news I will focus on providing in this discussion is coming to us from the halls of New York Comic Con, as there's a bit of some news coming to us relating to the upcoming film adaptation sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's. It was confirmed that some of the animatronics, distinctly the toy ones, will be getting themselves some voice roles in the upcoming film, which is not going off the canon of the lore, as the animatronics don't properly talk until around 3 or 4 more games from this one. But we got some confirmation that they have one voice returning from the games in the form of Kellen Goff voicing Toy Freddy, probably the weirdest casting with Toy Chica being voiced by Megan Fox, and the one that felt earned, even if their cameo appearance in the first one was a bit questionable now, with MatPat himself set to voice Toy Bonnie. Now, overall, I do think the choice of his roles are decent, but the only one I'm a little mixed on is Megan Fox's, but maybe she can prove herself in the role of all of this, but I guess we'll see, or else it could be another Mortal Kombat situation in that regards. Now, it's unclear the likes of some of these other animatronics will have some voices like Mangle, Balloon Boy, or the Puppet, but maybe they are saving them until the actual film release, because they might be spoilers or something in December, but I guess we'll see in due time what their sequel has in store for us all, coming down a month and a half time. Lastly, this story is one that doesn't have anything to do with casting, but it connects to that previous story, as we're talking on the man dubbed himself as the King of Five Nights at Freddy's, as he has now got himself his queen too, as it was announced that this week that YouTube star Markiplier has gotten himself married to his longtime partner of Amy Nelson, and it was a sense that the internet came together this week, was announced in solidarity about this happening, and it was a really wholesome moment overall. And all in all of this, I want to wish them a very happy marriage and his life together, as they really seem perfect for each other. But with all of that now, I want to know your thoughts on all these stories. Are you excited for a Minecraft film sequel, and will you sit through the double sequel feature with the Simpsons movie? Who would you cast in the roles of the Tangled live action remake? Who would you cast as Mary and Jesus in the Passion of the Christ sequel? Are they solid choices for the Oceans prequel and Beatles films? And who do you see voicing some of the other animatronics in these FNAF films? Let me know what you think all down below in the comments, and with all that regards, that's all the news that we do have for this week too.
That's the power of love.
And okay, so with all of this now, that ends episode 125 with my newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed my ramblings for a little over 20 minutes. Anyways, I'm going to fly through this quick summary wise of what to expect on this channel coming up, because it's somewhat similar to what you can expect. Anyways, we'll start with reviews. I do have actually one of the snack size box office uploading before this episode goes out, which is on the Beverly Hills Cop sequel that came out last year. I am going to start editing the other 3 later this week as well. I was kind of busy with other bits and pieces this week, so hopefully I can get those sorted out. The Last of Us season 1 and 2 reviews are going to come along eventually, as well as some other reviews in that aspect. I probably will incorporate like Horror Most Bore maybe this month as well, which technically counts to long form, but we'll see in that regards. But a lot of the reviews are going to come along eventually, and we'll get like award season stuff, and I will get that wicked review and stuff done, but we'll see. Gameplay wise as well, DK Bonanza should hopefully be out as well, probably around the same time as the Snack Size Box Office one. This should be part 3. I'm going to record some more during the week when I have the chance to do so. I'm going to like kind of incorporate in between like gameplays and other bits and pieces and brags and driving and stuff, but I'll see in that case as well as coming back from work and all that aspect of things. So those will be coming along as well. I will get some horror games started this week as well. I'm going to sort of look into ones I do have ready, like at hand, ready to go, that I can record easily, kind of things. Like some might take too long, maybe like the Little Nightmares games, because 3 just came out, and as well some other ones like Quiet Place and a few other ones, but we'll see. Then in the case of ones like Mario Wonder, Star Wars, and Cyberpunk, all those other ones will be coming back along eventually. I'll probably start some other games like, you know, Hollow Knight, maybe go back to like play some Secret and Clank or something like that. I don't know. We'll see those guards. We'll see it comes along. In the case of long form stuff, I already mentioned the case about the Horror Most Bore is going to come along. I have a time lapse build coming along as well. I just have to finish building him now, and should hopefully have it uploaded in the next couple of days. Afterwards, I will get to the AI Audience Choice video as well as Rewatchathon, as I mentioned already. Those will be coming along eventually, so look forward to those too. But with all that regards now, I think I'll end it there for now. So if you like my content and want to see more from me, then simply like, subscribe. So I'm sub every single week. I'm aiming for 500 subs, so if you can give me that chance, I will appreciate all that aspects greatly. In any case, let me know your thoughts on everything discussed down below in the comments as well. What are your thoughts of like anything, the new releases you've seen, the trailers, as well as news stories? I'd love to hear your thoughts about it overall. Then in case as well, we'll see how it goes along as well. I might try and figure out some other bits and pieces, but yeah, look forward to stuff, and I appreciate your focus and patience for all these like just weird mind focus episodes lately. But anyways, I think I should leave it there for now. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people. Have a great day every day, doing many great things, and of course keeping you, because no one else can do what you do. And take care of yourself and your mental health, because it's very important. Anyways, I've been your host Sam, of course. I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I shall see you later.